Hello, and welcome to the 6 Steps to a Better Business. I'm Gary Kishbaugh with Compass Action Coach. And today, as your coach, I want to take you through a few things. And the real purpose today is to help you with a return on the investment because you've invested your time, and that's very important. So we want to talk about the simplest, the fastest, and the easy way to do 3 things. The first one's increase sales and profits. The second thing we want to do today is help free up your time. And certainly, another one we're going to do is help you create an amazing team, which seems to be a large challenge for everyone today. So, to tell you a little bit about myself as your coach, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been the CEO of 4 separate companies. When I was at Wells Fargo, and when I was there, I won their Golden Spoke Award, which is their most prestigious award. And I don't tell you that to impress you. What I tell you is impress upon you. There really is not too many differences between a company that has 1 or 2 or 5 employees and this company, which when I was there happened to be almost 300,000 employees and the 26th largest company in the world. They have many of the same exact challenges you do. And I've been coaching businesses for more than 7 years. And so with your permission, I want to talk to you a little bit about business and what our definition of a successful business is. It's a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. And we say without you, it doesn't mean that you're not doing some monitoring, but the business doesn't have to rely on you for day-to-day tasks. It doesn't have to rely on you for the majority of the functions of the business. So that way you have built an amazing team. They know exactly their roles and different areas within the business, and that you have freedom. And that's really what the goal of having a business is to create freedom, freedom of choice, financial freedom, all types. So let's talk about the 6 steps to freedom. The first step is mastery, what you're going to do is eliminate chaos. And we'll talk a little bit more about each one of these as we go on. And the second step, as we move forward and get more stability, it's niche or niche, depending on where you're from. And I happen to look at Webster's dictionary to see which is the appropriate, and it turns out they both are. And what this is to create predictable cash flow and to eliminate competition. The third step in the 6 steps is leverage. This is efficiency. It's how to create systems. It's how to make it better for you. How to make it so that everything runs seamlessly when you're not there. The 4th step is team. It's all about having the right team to take it forward. And we're going to talk about that a little bit further, where the difference between a great team and an average team makes all the difference in the level of success for your company. And that's how you structure it for growth. The next one is the step is synergy. Synergy is where you get that entire team working together. It's a well-oiled machine. You generally have a general manager or a COO or something in place, someone in place that probably, if possible, was promoted through the ranks, but that's not always the case. And that they're able to help the business function so that you're not involved in the day-to-day activities. And then the last step is the one we all dream of. It's that step of freedom. It's the owner's personal growth. They can decide to spend time doing things that they love. They can venture into new businesses. They can expand it. It really becomes passive income. So the goal of this is that if you happen to like your business, you can certainly do some work in the business, but you have complete freedom to do whatever you enjoy. So let's start looking at each one of these a little bit more in depth. The first one we spoke about was mastery. Okay, and what mastery is, as we talked through, it's a commercial enterprise that works without you, right? And the part of mastery, there's 4 different areas of mastery, and it's really to help you become stable, eliminate chaos. How many times when people first start businesses or businesses are not functioning to their best level possible, what happens is they feel like they're walking on a tightrope. All right, you're worried about cash flow, you're worried about the team, everything's is really stressful. So what we do, we want to focus on 4 different areas of mastery. And those 4 areas are, the first one is destination mastery. And this is one that I find lacking quite a bit when it comes to especially small businesses, but even larger businesses. The destination mastery is, where are you going? Today, it's even more important when you're dealing with millennials. They need to know your why, right? Where are you going? What does your business actually stand for? What's the real reason that you're in business? If it's just to make money, then that's okay, but you'll never be able to get a team to follow you. They'll be very, very transactional. They'll come in, they'll put their time in, but they also won't have any loyalty. So this is your vision for the company. It's the culture you set for the company. So the first thing of the 4 master areas of mastery is destination mastery. The next one is money mastery. You'd be amazed how many businesses of all sizes don't know how to read financials and how to make decisions based on the financials. They'll look at the P&L and look at the bottom line, or they'll look at their checking account and go, oh, I got money, but not understanding what impact that is and how do we generate it so that our operating cash flow, and that's where we spend a lot of time in money mastery, operating cash flow, which means the actual cash you create from running operations is positive and growing. That means you have a healthy, strong business. And there's certain things you can do within a business that helps promote and make operating cash flow stronger and stronger as days go by. And it's also a way to guide the business. It is the optics of a business. Every single country has a language that it speaks in. And what we talk about in the case of money, it's accounting. But in the case, it's, when I say accounting, it doesn't mean you have to be an accountant. It means you have to understand how to make decisions based on finance. And that's a big part of money mastery. We all will make great decisions if we had all the information and knew how to interpret it. The next one's time mastery. How many of us have struggled saying, oh, I just can't get everything done? If I just had more hours of the day. How many of us are stealing hours at night? And our family is actually suffering because we spend too much time. And even when we are home, sometimes we're not home, our mind's at work. Well, time mastery is about where we put our focus. We can't actually change time, but we can change how we utilize that time. And the last, but certainly not least, is delivery mastery. And we talk about that, we're talking about the delivery of goods and services that you provide to your customers. Is it consistent? Believe it or not, when we spend time with Fortune 500 companies, step 1 with mastery is where we spend 85% of our time. You'd think by being a multi-billion billion-dollar international company that this would be already given, but it's really not. It's struggling with delivery mastery, especially in time mastery, right? In the case of delivery mastery, is your product consistent every single time? Do your customers know exactly what to expect? And the single most important thing in delivery mastery is, do you delight your customers and turn them into raving fans? Okay? So that's the first step. The second step that we work on is niche. And niche, as we talked about earlier, it's creating a call it a competition-less area, right? No price, no competition. If you don't have a clear niche, why you're better, why you're different, then anybody will do. And I talk to a lot of professionals every day. It doesn't matter what professional services you're in. They say, well, I'm a great accountant. I'm a great lawyer. I'm a great doctor. Well, what really makes you great? And that's the point, is you have to be great from the perspective of your patient, client, or customer. And in saying that, what makes you unique? There's a reason you have loyal customers. You fit their particular need. And there are a lot of other customers like that. So being able to define what that value is so that you can go out to people and you're solving a problem for them, for either the consumer or for the business, then you've created a difference. So you no longer have competition and you don't have to fight over price. Most people, they make a decision based on price because they don't know if there are any other parameters that should be made in the decision making. So they go to the least common denominator. I go right to my price, of course. So if I knew some other factors, I make a difference in a choice. For example, when you buy tires, if you don't know that different tires are for different driving conditions, and if you don't know if different tires are for different weather, if you don't know different tires for different types of speed and timing, everything would say, okay, I buy this size and it's this cost. But there's a dramatic difference depending on what you use them for. So creating that niche that your business has will eliminate the lack of, or excuse me, the need of competition, because what will happen is there'll be a point of differentiation where other people are going to still like the old Walmart model. We're lower. Instead, with niche, you've just created something that's unique and that other people can't match. And in doing so, you've created value to your customers and your prospects. Okay, and creating your niche, think of this, it's your unique selling proposition. And it's also a guarantee. What is your unique selling proposition? What do you do that delights your customers that is so unique? And the guarantee, I'll give you a guarantee with one of our clients, a residential plumber. They have 3 parts to their guarantee. The first one is that we will be able to be out there to correct your problem within 24 hours. And if we can't, we'll refer you to somebody else who can. Number 2, we will leave your house cleaner than it was when we got there. Because one of the problems with a lot of homeowners, they hate when workmen come in and the place is a complete shambles and it's dirty. And third, all of our plumbers wear belts. So their guarantee is very simply 24-hour response time. We leave it cleaner than when we found it, and we wear belts. What's yours? You'd be amazed how many people identify with that particular plumber and hire them because of that guarantee. So what's your unique selling proposition? That's part of what you figure out and learn if you're in step 2 of the 6 steps. And a big part of that is test and measure. The reason we say test and measure is because you never get anything right or everything right the first time. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you have to tweak. The only way you know is you test it and you see what works best and what doesn't. Sometimes you think you know what your customers or clients want, but without testing it, it's nothing more than speculation. Okay. And as we're moving up the ladder, now we're to the step number 3, which is leverage. And leverage is all about systems. And what does systems stand for? Stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. What happens is people try to run businesses without systems. They say, well, we have them, we kind of, not formal. And the truth is, if you don't have a formalized system that you train to, you don't have anything. Now, one of the things that I recommend to all people as a great book, if you're wanting to put systems into a business, it's a great book by actually the founder of Action Coach. And it's called 9 Steps to Systemizing a Business. And the first one is a vision statement. Where's the business going? The mission statement, the culture statement, SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. And these are specific goals. Next is who's responsible? What's everybody's role within the organization? We don't use job descriptions, we use positional contracts. The difference is a positional contract, the employee is committing, or the team member is committing to do certain tasks rather than just saying, here's a list of tasks you're responsible for. KPIs are the measurements of those particular things that they have been made responsible for to see how they're doing. KPIs are great so people can judge themselves instead of having to have their boss turn around and say, you did this right or you did this wrong. They can make adjustments accordingly and ask for additional help and training. How-to systems, right? This is training. And management systems. What's your dashboard? How do you tell if your systems are working well? How do you tell if your people have been trained within your system? These are all key areas of systemizing a business. And this is all part of the leverage. So once we systemize a business, right? Because your systems run your business, but your people run your systems. So once you've systemized the business, you then go to team, which again, team and building it, it's really important. And here's one of the things that most business owners and team members don't understand. When I ask the question, who is the most important person in a business? Everyone always says the customer. When the truth is, the most important person in the business is the owner. And the reason being is the owner has to decide what resources, what compensation, what's the vision, the direction of the business. And then the team owner supports the the business owner supports the team. Most people say, oh, we take care of the customers. Well, that circumvents and undermines your team. Really great companies train, support, and coach their team, because the team becomes the ultimate group that satisfy the customers. So the owner takes care of the team then services and delights the customers. And when the customers are delighted, they take care of the business by buying more, repeat business, and then the business then goes back to the owner. So it all starts with the owner, but the owner doesn't circumvent and go directly to the customers. Instead, they invest in their team. Many times I hear owners say, they just don't do it the way that I would do it. Well, that's probably because you didn't train them to do it that way, or you haven't shown them, or you haven't coached them, or in the rare occasion, which does happen, is you selected the wrong team member. But the owner has to build the team, and if he or she does it right, the team will certainly delight the customers, and the customers will take care of the business. And that's step 4 about building leverage. Now, the last two go hand in hand, and we want to talk a little more about them. And the fact that the synergy means that entire team is working together, and you have somebody who's leading that team other than the owner. Many times, owners get so focused on how they match up against the team and how much their identity is linked to the business that they forget that they want freedom out of it. And then afterwards they say, I'm always stuck in my business. Well, of course you are, because you haven't built the business and then given other people the opportunity and then measure their performance. In the case of this, it's a general manager has a well-oiled team working very, very well together. And when that happens, that's when you go from step 5, which is synergy, to step 6, which is freedom. And freedom, then the business owner can decide what they want to do. They can be outside the business. They can be passively involved in the business. And some of them, and we see this a lot sometimes with trades or craftsmen, is they decide they were great at something and they didn't really want to run their business. So they build the business till somebody else can, and then they go inside and work in a function that they really enjoyed, whether it's a finished carpenter or someone who's a tool and die guy. So it really depends, but that gives them the choice. If they want to move on and go on vacations, spend time with their family, they can. If they want to do something else, I see a lot with dentists. They like dentists. They just don't want, being a dentist, but they just don't want to spend all their time running a dental practice. So what do? They build the practice to where somebody else can actually run the business, and then they go back and just become a dentist inside their own business. So they have all the things that they enjoyed, they trained for, but they don't have all the headaches that come along with managing and running a business. Okay? Now, Sir Richard Branson makes a very powerful quote. So if you can learn to run one business successfully, there's no reason you can't run any number of businesses at the same time. The principles are still the same. And that's true. Once you get to step 6, that's freedom. He'll spend a limited amount of time with each business every year. He has the right people in place leading his team. He has the right team members in place, and he gets involved in strategic discussions. He gets involved in looking where the business is going and also evaluating those people that are leading the team. So he's able to run an empire by doing the exact same thing. And it takes time to be able to get the first team up there running for the first business. But once you do, you can see how quickly it can duplicate. So whether you're going to have one business or you want to do multiples, the only way to get to the level of freedom and be less involved as far as on the day-to-day is exactly this, getting to step 6 and allowing the businesses to do the majority of running on their own. And then all you have to do is monitor. Okay. Now, unfortunately, the late Jim Rohn, one of the legendary thinkers, said something which is absolutely terrific. It says, never wish your life were easier. Wish that you were better. Always work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Many people stop education when they graduate from school. The fact that you're watching this webinar says you're one of the select few that want to go above and beyond. And think about it this way. We always talk about when we learned how to do things when we were a child. You were tying your shoes. How hard was it sitting there trying to learn how to tie your shoes, right? Trying to loop the ears, wrap it over, pull it through. And it was very difficult as a 5 or 6-year-old or a 4-year-old to try to learn to do that. Now today, you don't even give it any thought. It's so fast, it's done. And it's not that it got easier, it's that you were better. And that's the same with your business. Sometimes things feel insurmountable or they feel very difficult. Well, the truth is, we have to make you better, because everything can be, every accomplishment can happen, but you have to have the right tools and you have to have the right training. Brad Sugars, who's the founder of Action Coach, has one of my favorite quotes. Where you'll be in 5 years depends on the books you read, the people you associate with, and the actions you take. If you don't do all 3 of these, there'll be something lacking. Many times there's people who read a lot of books, take a lot of notes, but they never actually implement any of them. Many times, business owners, you want to surround yourself with people who are like-minded, meaning growth-wise, but also that are better than you, that people that inspire you, people who you aspire to be like, because that's going to cause you to grow. And you have to get out of your comfort zone to grow. And of course, the most important part of this statement is the actions you take. We can think about things all day long, but if we don't actually do something about it, nothing will ever change. It's always the action that you take on a daily basis. Nobody ever becomes an overnight sensation. It's always a series of improvements that allow them to become successful. And Tiger Woods, and he's kind of at the same stage, although it was great to see him win the Masters recently, but the same stage. But the comment he makes is, no matter how tough you think you are, you can't do this on your own. And he was discussing the value of his coach and his support team. And how many times business owners do you see that are trying to just muscle through this thing? They're trying to work harder. Just because you've worked hard at this point, if I just work harder to get through it. Well, the truth is, without somebody giving you a little different perspective to improve your skills, you're going to continue to struggle and do the same things. There's a great book said, what got you here won't get you there. And that's really talking about the future, and it's all about growing. And the point of a coach, which I'm obviously a little biased to, but a point of the coach is to be able to see things you can't. And as anybody here who's a parent, you always hope your children don't make the same mistake you made, regardless of whether it's in sports or academics. And that's really where the advantage of having a coach is the coach sees things that you won't normally see. I've got my own coach as well as being a coach, and I've had my own coach for the last 20 years, a series of coaches for different coaches for different needs. And one person said to me, all the things you're learning from your coach is common sense. And I said, yes, it is common sense after I learn it, but before that, it wasn't. So just like Tiger Woods says, no matter how tough you think you are, you can't do this alone. None of us can. So the big key now is to, as Brad Sugar said, the last thing is to get into action. So if you would like to have any conversations, if I can help you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Gary Kishbaugh, Gary with 2 R's, Kishbaugh, Kishbaugh on LinkedIn. And I also, for all the attendees who've signed up for this, I will be sending you a link so you can watch this on my YouTube channel, take any notes. And again, if I can help you in any way humanly possible, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to answer questions and help move you forward. And I'd like to, as we said earlier, this is an investment of your time. So I'd like to say thank you for doing that and spending your time investing in yourself to get better. And wish everybody a great and productive week. Take care.